Hello, my name is Sonali and I welcome you all to this week's Around the World in 7 Days. Have you ever wondered how India fits into the complex puzzle of the Middle East power dynamics? Today we will try to find out. First, let's take a look into the geography and history of the Middle East. The Middle East is a diverse geopolitical and cultural region encompassing the Arabian Peninsula, the Levant, Turkey, Egypt, Iran, and Iraq. Its western border is defined by the Mediterranean Sea, with countries like Israel, Lebanon, and Syria sharing the coast opposite Greece and Italy in Europe. Egypt, although in Africa, is often considered part of the Middle East. Additionally, Turkey and Cyprus, straddling both Europe and Asia, are sometimes included in this region. The term Middle East has evolved over time, and its exact boundaries have caused some confusion. But it is a significant crossroads between Asia, Europe, and Africa, marked by its rich history, diverse cultures, and strategic importance. Often hailed as the cradle of civilization, the Middle East birthed ancient societies Mesopotamia and Egypt. It remains a center for major world religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. Its global significance dramatically increased in 1908 when the first Middle Eastern oil field, Masjid Soleiman in Iran, was discovered. Post-World War II, large-scale oil production reshaped the region, turning it into a strategic global hub and shifting the world's power dynamics. The once unassuming, vastly deserted landscape became a key player in the world's affairs, exemplifying the transformative impact on the globe. The topic of today's discussion finds its genesis in the groundbreaking developments in the Middle East. For example, the India-Middle East corridor, the China mediator role, and the U.S. declining influence in the region. In contemporary times, the Middle East is widely recognized for its significant wealth in terms of oil, infrastructure, business, tourism, and devastating conflicts, making it a major geopolitical space, attracting powerful international actors, particularly the U.S, China, and India. The United States has had a long-standing presence in the Middle East, engaging in activities such as proxy wars, humanitarian interventions, and the pursuit of substantial oil reserves. However, events like the Arab Spring in 2011 and the inability to protect Saudi Arabia from drone attacks by Houthi rebels in Yemen, as well as the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, have raised concerns about the United States' ability to provide security to major players in the Middle East, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, which wield substantial influence in the region. Reduced U.S. attention to the Middle East has allowed regional powers to pursue more independent foreign policies, fostering stability and predictability. Examples include the Saudi-UAE engagement with Iran, the resolution of the Qatar blockade, and Arab nations' reconciliation with Syria's Bashar al-Assad. The evolving situation has created an opportunity for influential actors like India and China to explore possibilities and enhance their relevance in the integrate politics of the Middle East. China in particular has been garnering attention notably for its mediation efforts between long-standing rivals Saudi Arabia and Iran. These two nations have been engaged in proxy conflicts, including the devastating Yemen conflict, as well as other historical disagreements. However, it's important to note that China has faced significant criticism on the international stage, including in the Middle East, for its treatment of Uyghur Muslims and its controversial debt trap strategy. As a result, there is a growing perception in the Middle East that a friend to all referring to China may end up being a friend to none. This implies that while China may seek to build relationships and mediate regional conflicts, concerns about its actions and strategies have led to skepticism and caution among some Middle Eastern nations. This brings India into the play. India has recognized the abundant opportunities that engagement with the Middle East presents and has been proactive in capitalizing on them. In recent years, India has pursued a multifaceted approach involving diplomacy, economic cooperation, and strategic efforts to foster and enhance its relations with Middle Eastern nations. India has established diplomatic ties with several Middle Eastern countries such as the UAE, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Qatar, Oman, and more. These diplomatic relationships encompass various aspects, including trade, cooperation in the energy sector, and efforts to promote regional stability. India places a high strategic importance on its partnerships in the Middle East, primarily due to considerations related to energy security and geopolitical influence. These diplomatic connections also extend to cultural exchanges and the welfare of the Indian diaspora residing in the Middle East. Now let's take a look at the major engagements by India in the Middle East. India's multifaceted engagement in the Middle East serves to enhance its geopolitical influence and economic interest. Amid the U.S China competition in the region, India leverages its cultural ties, historical engagements, and strategic partnerships to create a favorable position for itself. The Middle East has become an arena where the interests of the United States and China often clash, leading to a complex geopolitical landscape. India, as a significant regional player, is strategically navigating this scenario to maximize its own advantages and enhance its position in the region. The emergence of the Middle East Quad, that is I2U2, consisting of India, Israel, the US, and the UAE, highlights India's efforts to create a platform for economic, technological, and diplomatic cooperation spanning South Asia, the Middle East, and the United States. This demonstrates India's intent to leverage its historical ties and cultural connections in the region to expand its influence. The recent announcement of the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor at the G20 summit underscores India's strategic foresight in strengthening regional connectivity and fostering economic cooperation. This corridor's capacity to establish a connection between India and Europe through countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Jordan, and Israel represents a substantial advancement. It has the potential to significantly boost India's economic pursuits and regional relationships by expanding trade opportunities and simultaneously serving as a strategic response to China's Belt and Road Initiative. India's pursuit of $100 billion non-oil trade target with the UAE by 2030 through the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement negotiations is a proactive step to deepen economic engagement. Simultaneously, efforts to expand the use of rupee-dirham trade can reduce reliance on other currencies and promote economic stability. Furthermore, India's reliance on Gulf countries for 60% of its crude oil imports underscores the region's significance for its energy security. The presence of around 8.5 million Indian expatriates in West Asia in different sectors, which is about 65% of the total number of Indians working abroad. MEA highlights the human capital link, with their remittances of approximately $40 billion annually being a vital source of revenue for India. India's total remittances received in financial year 2023 is $112.5 billion. A substantial chunk of it comes from the Middle Eastern nations, including UAE with 18%, Saudi Arabia with 5.1%, Kuwait 2.4%, Oman 1.6%, and Qatar with 1.5%. Additionally, events like Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's invitation as the chief guest for Republic Day, India's historical relations with Iran, and its active involvement in projects like the Chabahar port further strengthens the India-Middle East bond. Now moving on to the conclusion. India should recognize the opportunities arising from the U.S China competition in West Asia. The U.S. values India as a significant partner due to its economic size, historical engagement, and cultural ties with the region. However, India should approach this without viewing it as a new Cold War and avoid over-reliance as seen in Afghanistan. India is already part of the international North-South transport corridor, and the proposed Middle East corridor would provide another economic avenue. India's policy in the region should focus on multiple engagements rather than appeasing or containing any single great power. Regardless of the US or China's presence, India should aim to play a prominent geopolitical role in West Asia while maintaining its traditional balance. By maintaining a balanced approach and pursuing opportunities that arise from the clash of interest between the US and China, India can further its regional standing and gain substantial benefits.